Oh, what's up fellow space lovers, Dr. McKay here and welcome back to my channel. As you can see, we're not playing Space Engineers, we are playing Kerbal Space Program. Now, I've been thinking that because I've been building real life rockets on Space Engineers the last few weeks, I thought I would play a proper space simulator game and this game is awesome. I have played it before, but I've never done a video on it. So I thought I would just start a new career and try and build some realistic rockets to basically show you and go over the process and of orbital mechanics, because obviously Space Engineers doesn't have anything realistic to real life, and obviously Kerbal Space Program does. So obviously this is like a one-off unless I have requests for more. So if you like my content, please smash that like button, don't forget to comment your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe. With all that said, let's jump straight into it. I'm going to be starting a new game. And we're going to do a career. We're going to change our flag. So we want to... I'm going to go for... I'm going to be NASA because I gotta love NASA. NASA is the beast. Yeah, so we're going to do career. We're going to change our flag to NASA because we do have the NASA meatball here somewhere. There it is. We also have the European Space Agency. We have UK Space. Now obviously I am British, so I could use UK Space, but like I love NASA. Like NASA's like the pioneer in space, so let's choose NASA. And we do have other changes we could do. So let's just turn off the crew respawn timer just in case we lose some. I think I'll keep generally everything the same. Yeah, I might increase the starting funds a little bit just to give us a bit of a go. Not too much, just like to 30. No science because we're trying to do all the science. Yeah, I might increase the rewards by 30%, the funds by 30%, just to make sure that we're not gonna struggle. Yeah, this isn't to challenge me. We're not doing it on hard. We're just basically playing like properly in a sense. Alright, so and we have advanced, so we want to kind of just keep everything basically the same. Probes require signal for any control rather than going to partial control when lacking any signal. I think that'll be right for a minute. So yeah, so we're basically set. So we're gonna jump straight in and we're gonna start on a career. Right, now for any of you out there who's never played or heard of Kerbal Space Program, right, well, if you love rockets, space travel, space flight, space simulators, anything to do with rockets, this game is basically all in one. You have your, obviously, this is the Kerbal Space Complex, alright, you have your administration buildings where you can get your fundraising and do stuff like that. Yeah. So there's lots of stuff that you can do. You have astronaut complex where you can hire. Now you always start off with 4, and these 4 are the best. Yeah, you have Jebediah Kerman, Bill Kerman, Bob, and Valentine Kerman. Everyone's a Kerman, so let's not get into that. But like, these guys are the ones you want to try and keep alive because these are the best ones. All right. Now obviously everyone has their own preference, but I prefer Jeb because Jeb's crazy. And obviously you have your flagpole, which you can change flag while in the game. Your launch pad, which at the minute is a tiny little thing that can only hold only so many big vehicles. We have mission control, where we pick our missions. Now we have launch our first vessel, orbit Kerbal, escape the atmosphere, and gather scientific data from Kerbal. So they're all easy, but we can only have 2. So we'll gather the scientific data from Kerbal, and we'll launch our first vehicle, because those are things we're going to do almost straight away. We have our research. Now, this is why Kerbal Space Program is pretty awesome, because you have basically real world like vehicle parts in this game. Now you start off with basic, which is like basic. Then obviously as you work up, you can get like Saturn V, you can get the space shuttle's main engines, which is in this one, which is the very end. You get obviously the Saturn V vehicle parts. You get like Soyuz rocket parts. You get everything. You even get shuttle parts in this. You can build your own space shuttle. You got rovers. You got machine parts. You got satellite parts. Basically, this game fits everything you want to do for a space simulator game, and it does it really well as well, using proper good physics. Now, some of the physics can be improved on, and hopefully they will be in Kerbal Space Program 2 whenever that is released. So what we're going to do, we need to launch our first vehicle, and we need to gather scientific data. So we go to the vehicle assembly builder now. This is the brains of the operation, where you build what you want. Now we have, the controls are quite, I would say, clunky, but they do get easier to get used to. So obviously if you click your left analog stick, you got a little mouse, which is pretty good for everything in this game. If you didn't have this, then it'd just be unplayable. So we have to build our rocket. Now you start from building your rocket in this game going from top down. Alright, so you don't go from bottom up, you usually top down. So you capsule all your stuff, then you work your way down. Now we have our Russian pod, so Russian, and we have our American pod. Now I like going for the Mark 1. Click on it and it appears. Awesome. But what I might do quick, I might just turn down the game's music, because it obviously that's not music, is it? Alright. Is it master volume? Okay, that's not doing anything either. Where would it be? That's better. Right, so music volume is down. Okay, so we have our little command pod here, and our little Kerbal will sit inside this hatch. But what we need to do, we need to build it like it is in real life. Now we don't have a lot of parts just yet. We have no fuel tanks, but we do have a rocket booster. So that's a solid rocket booster. So when you basically press launch, it will continue to go up until it runs out of fuel. So we're just checking all of our bits. Now we have fins. Now they're good for keeping your vehicle stable. No heat shields, no electrics, no communications. Oh, we have some goo. Mysterious goo. So we're going to place the goo on the rocket. Now this is how you collect science. When you're in space, you have it deployed and then you collect science. And obviously to do that, I pressed X and whatnot. Now we may want to put one on the other side for balancing reasons, because this game, like I said, the physics in this game are quite realistic. So if your vehicle isn't balanced, it does topple to one side. So we have nothing major, so we're just going to have to strap our astronaut to a bomb and launch him up. Now we need to recover him safely, so we need to have a parachute, and luckily it gives us a parachute like that. Boom. Now we do have auto snap on, we have symmetry, so we can have multiple symmetries up to 8, I think it is. We have our center of mass of our vehicle. This is for like complex builds. If you need to know your mass, so like building an airplane, you need to know where your wing mass is, lift and whatnot, because unlike space engineers, there is air in this game, which is awesome. We have our thrust, our vector, and we have our aerodynamic overlay, which is that blue. Now these are all complicated things that if eventually we continue this series, we will get into, but right now we're just having a little bit of fun on showing you this game, because I need to launch some proper rockets. Space Engineers is good, but I need some physics in my life. Like, so we come over to the right side here, because there's nothing more we can do to our rocket. That's it. That's all the parts we have. So you come over to the right, and this is what we call staging. Right, now what we want to happen on this is the things at the bottom of the list is what we want to have first, but we need to have them in separate blocks, because if you have them in the same block, when you press A, everything happens in that block. So if I was to press A now, our parachute would deploy and our rocket booster will go, and then everything will just tip up and go flying everywhere. So we need to separate it out, so have our booster first. So do an extra slot with the plus, grab it with the A and drag it down. So when we press A, our booster fires, and then when we get to a certain altitude, we can manually deploy our parachute to bring him down safely. So that's it. So let's name it. Let's just call it Crew 1. Why not? Alright, once you built it, you press start and you go launch, and it will automatically put an astronaut in the seat. Now, obviously, at later builds, you can choose which astronauts you want, but I think the first one is obviously Jebediah. Now, little Jeb is a nutcase, absolute mental case. There he is, Jebediah Kerman. He's a complete nutter. Alright, zoom in a little bit. I have to get used to the camera controls again. So, on this, it's basically straightforward. We have our altitude up here, which I'm going to need to move my bar, so give me 2 seconds. Right, and we're back. Sorry about that, I just had to move my stream bar from the altitude readings and atmosphere, because you need to have all your instruments kind of working here. So, get your little mouse. We're going to do some ground-based science. We're going to press X on it, and we're going to observe the mystery goo. And we're going to keep the experiment by pressing A. And what we're going to do with the next one, if I keep the bar open, we can observe it while we're flying. That way it'll give us some detailed stuff. Now, I'm going to click on the crew hatch now. And is it this one? No, I want the pod actually, not the thing. Right, there we go. And I want to basically do a crew report on the ground, and that'll give us a bit of science as well. So we're going to keep experiment. Now, sometimes transmitting the experiment will yield less science and bring it back safely. So if you're on the moon and with a rover, you can only transmit it. Whereas you send astronauts, so you can bag moon rocks, it brings more science, a lot more science. So we're going to quickly switch on our SAS, which is basically stability. You know, it basically keeps us from panning all over the place. So we're going to lift off in 3, 2, 1. And we're off. There he goes. And now what we're going to do, we're going to observe the mystery goo in flight. And it's now yielded 9.1. So we recover that. Now, because we've kind of gone straight up, I need an angle to the right so we land over the ocean. Otherwise, we might have a broken solid rocket booster. Now we got to 10,000 meters. It's pretty cool. Just need to angle over a little bit. Oh, not too much. Just remember that this is like realistic in a sense. So we need to kind of go engine first now. We're over the ocean almost. And we're coming back down. Obviously our altitude is dropping, our speed is increasing, and when we get to about 5,000 meters, I'll deploy the parachute. But obviously, if you notice the little ball in the middle, right, that yellow symbol is basically where my perigee, which is the lowest point of my angle, is, and obviously it's almost basically facing right down now. And I'm losing I'm losing control, but I'm getting it. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to deploy shoot. There she goes. Speed it up, because we have to have a speed on this. Because like I said, this is real world, in a sense, or real world physics. So speed it up, and it should open about 1,000 meters. I hope so. There we go. Oof. Just safely above the water at 100 meters. So let's get in the water by speeding up a little bit, and we should go splash about now. Here we go. And he's safe, little nutter Jebediah. So what we need to do now, we need to press start, and we need to recover the vessel. Always do recover vessel. That way our vessel will get recycled, money's returned, and our astronauts safe. And not to mention, we gain our science, our much needed science. And there we go, we have our science. We have crew report from launch pad, mysterious goo, and recover the vessel from flight. All gives us science. And we obviously get our mission rewards as well, which he gains experience. So our mission rewards are over here. No. If I press it properly. There we go. We have gained all that. So press A. Now we've achieved the goal of our launch our first vessel, and other things as well. Obviously, gained scientific data. And voila. So now what we need to do, we're going to need to get some more missions. And now we have a shit ton. So we do the simple ones first, because some of these are actually quite hard to do. Even I struggle. Yeah, the easiest ones are like test like specific engine parts, yeah, i.e. these. Escape Kerbal's atmosphere, would definitely take that one, because that's going to be our next goal in this video. And I'll take the orbit one, because I might make orbit. I'm pretty good at this game. Not as good as other people you may see on YouTube. I can name a few. Yeah, I'm a novice, I would like to call myself. So let's go back to the vehicle assembly building. And I did that wrong, didn't I? I need to go to science. I need to get some science. So we need to go to Space Center. Can't get into orbit if I don't have better rockets or better engines stuff. So science. And what do we want? Or when do we want it? So we want that one, obviously. How much we got? 31. That's basic coupling. That's more engines and a rocket fuel. So we got, how much we got? 26. So I can only do one of these. What do we want? Well, that's parachutes, couplings, payload bay, and a bit of science. So that's basically your recovery. That's stability. So let's gain more engines, because we're a bit daredevilish. So let's build our next rocket and see if we make it into orbit using my knowledge of how flying a rocket works. Now, I'm no expert, but I got some knowledge under my belt. So we don't need the flea rocket booster. So that's essentially what we want for a minute. I don't think, have we got any more science? Oh yeah, we got a thermometer. So I have a little thermometer on this somewhere. That'll do. Okay. So what we need now, we need a cup link. Oh, can I get into space? Can I do an orbit without a heat shield? Oh, this is going to be pushing it here. So I'm aiming for orbit here. Let's go cup link. Alright, this is a coupler. This is going to separate our rocket or our capsule from our explosive rocket. Now we do have some fuel tanks. Alright, let's build like a simple rocket here. Let's do 3. I think that should be plenty for the minute. We need an engine. Now I could do a 2-stage rocket, but I think that'll be a bit overkill for right now. So each obviously of your engines have different thrust in sea level and at vacuum, and obviously at sea level, which is ASL, which means your thrust in kilonewtons for the force going up. So the better it is, the more weight it can take. And obviously thrust in vacuum is how much like force it has to propel your vehicle in space. So the higher it is, the less delta V, which is the speed, I believe, you need to get to go places. You know, I'll work on my scientific lingo another time. So if you look at both of these, obviously this one swivels, so this one can control angle, and this one doesn't. So if we're going to space, we need a kind of a swivel engine, don't we? Yeah. So we'll go with this one. Alright, and we do have 2 solid rocket boosters here. Yeah, but I need to couple them on. That's it. Try and work out camera buttons. Right trigger and right stick is to go up and down. Left bumper and right stick is to zoom in and out. It's confusing, but we'll get there. So we need couplings. Do we have couplings? No, we don't have any side couplings yet. Okay, okay. So actually, I might build a 2-stage rocket. It might help. So put coupling at the bottom there. And what we could do, obviously it's going to be a bit mental for our second rocket. Let's do another 3, and then the Reliant engine. Alright, now because it's quite a tall vehicle and we need to have some aerodynamics, we're going to go with some fins, and we're going to do 4 fins at the bottom of the rocket to give it some aerodynamic stability. Now, I think that we don't need any at the top, so we could go with this, because once you get high enough with that main engine on the bottom, we should be high enough outside the air to not need it. Now, I don't think we got... Oh, we have communications equipment. I don't think we need that just yet. I think we're good. Right. So let's make sure our staging's right. So we have our main engine, we have decoupler, second stage engine, and then our last decoupler, then parachute. So we're good. Let's call this Crew 2. So now we're ready. We're gonna go to launch site, and we're gonna try and leave the atmosphere, but we're also gonna try and go into an orbit. Now, unlike space engineers, where you just fly straight up until you get 0G, there's no such thing as 0G. Just to make that clear, you do have like 0G kind of in atmosphere in the International Space Station, but that's because you're going so fast sideways in relation to the surface of the Earth that as you're falling, you fall around the planet. So you don't actually hit the planet, you just kind of falling around it in a state of free fall. So you experience microgravity, or 0G is what astronauts call it. Now obviously this 0G is kind of a misconception in terms of what 0G is, but we're going to attempt to go to orbit. So we need to be going fast enough sideways to get out. I don't think we're going to have enough propellant. We'll get into space, leave the atmosphere, but we won't actually get into orbit. So we're going to count down from 3. Oh, hang on. Might as well take a temperature sample here. No, on temperature. Yeah, right. So log temperature on the ground. At least we've done that then. Let's keep it. And we're going to do another goo as we're going up, and then we'll do our crew report when we hit apogee, which is the highest point of our ascent before we start to fall. Right, so 3, 2, 1, lift off. When we get to about where's our fuel? So we have fuel indication on our left. We're coming up about 3/4 now, about half tank. We're going to start pitching over in a minute to the right, to our about a little bit of a angle here, because obviously this rocket doesn't have, maybe slow down a bit so we don't break up. Angle. It's not angling. It is a bit. It's because this engine doesn't gimbal, so we're not actually controlling the ascent, but we're going straight up. Alright, staging is going to happen in 3, 2, 1, stage, and we're going to fire, and we're going to go sideways. Too much. Come back a bit. Alright. Am I good? Alright, I'm good to leave it. Alright. Observe the mystery goo. Keep. We're going to zoom in a bit. Alright. Going a bit too fast, so we've got to slow down that burn so we don't burn up. Now, keep going to about 45, which is about there, I think. No, it was about where we were. Yeah, so we go up to a 45 degree, and then when we get high enough again, about 50,000 to maybe 100,000 meters, we go to a 90 degree to create an orbit. Now, I don't know if we're gonna get this. That one. So that's our apogee there, and as you can see, as we're going sideways, our orbit's increasing. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to burn off, and we're going to get a little bit closer to the apogee, which is there. We're going to angle at 90 degrees, and we're going to fire up and see if we can get into an orbit. But we don't want to use up all our fuel, because that would be bad. And I can't see the fuel because the bar again is in the way. Alright, and we're almost out of fuel, so I don't think it's wise to get into an orbit if we can't deorbit. So we're in space, so crew hatch, now I want crew capsule, Alright, we're going to do a crew report. Keep that. And we're going to get our other science, which is here. And we're going to observe this view in space. Keep that. Right. So we're going to quickly toggle. So we're not even at our apogee yet. So I'm going to angle over a little bit. So where are we going to land? We're going to land in the ocean. Ah, go a bit crazy then. Alright. I bet Jebediah's having a whale of time inside. So what we're going to do is going to keep on this plane. Now we are in an orbit on the equator, I believe. So just about. So what I'm going to do in a minute, I'm just going to fire up my engine as we get close to apogee, which is going to be literally in a minute, which is here. And apogee is outside of Earth's, well, basically in space, because at 100,000 meters is we pass the Kármán line, which is basically the point where you're actually in space in relation to being in Earth's atmosphere. So we're now gonna thrust up a little bit and go now. And see our bar increase, and obviously I don't want to increase too much because we don't have enough fuel to re-enter. As long as we land in the ocean, it should be fine. So let's go back to staging. Let's see how Jeb's doing. There he is. Alright. We're just passing our perigee now. Or apogee, sorry, my bad. No, I don't want to edit staging. What we're doing. Alright. Alright. Oh, we're just over it now. So that's the highest point we're going to do. Now we're going to fall back down. So what we're going to do is we're going to decouple our engine. Well, our main engine stage. Now we're literally a floating capsule with no heat shield. So this is going to be pretty fun. I know these things can take a bit of heat. So now we flip it round. So we're at at. If I can get to it, where's it to? There we go. And now obviously that will fall that way, I think. Why is it I'm pressing the same trigger and it does the same rotation? How very strange. You think left and right trigger will spin it each other way, not the same way. That's very strange. Anyway, we're coming down now, so I'm going to speed it up. Speed up a bit. And we're coming in. Now we're inside the Earth's atmosphere. Or Kerbin's atmosphere, because it's not the Earth. We've got to make sure we keep ourselves in this mark, because we don't actually have SES properly yet. But we don't want to be coming in nose first when we're going to hit the atmosphere. Alright. Always keep it in the bottom first. Look at Jeb having a whale of a time down there. Look at him. Probably loving it. There we go. We're now getting hit by the Earth's atmosphere. I'm just hoping that this vehicle can withstand it. Oh, let's get a bit. Oh, don't lose those goo. Don't lose the goo. Oh, oh, it's all getting hot. So don't blow. Don't blow. They're gonna blow. Oh, it's gonna be tough. Ah, I think we made it. God, Jeb got a bit cooked there, but I think we're good. Man, I thought some shit was gonna blow. Should have took the temperature during that. Jesus. Look at that, over the ocean. I know what that is. That's crew 2's debris. So I think that's where the booster's gone. But we're coming down now. So like I said, when we get to about 5,000 meters, we'll deploy the chute. And here we go, 5,000 deploying. Gotta make sure we bring him home. Let's speed things up a minute. Should open up. There we go. About 1,000 meters. Speed up now, just to the ground or to the ocean. Doesn't look like we're going anywhere, does it? We're at 100 meters, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 30, 40, 30, 40. That made no sense. And plop. We are safe, and Jebediah is like, well, I was enjoying that. So recover the vessel. Now I reckon if I would have put a few more fuel tanks on the first stage, we could have done that. So there we have it. Lots and lots of science. We got 44 science from that. Now that is pretty decent for our second flight. And we achieved no experience gain. Really? You just went to space. Give him some points, man. Anyway. We have lots of stuff here. We have that one. We have escape the atmosphere. Done. We have the second one as well. So yes, we have done a few of our missions. Now we're going to see what we have here. Now we have lots of test ones we can do, which are basically easy. You just build the rocket on the pad, test it on the pad if it says test. Find one here. That says in flight, at launch site. So that one there, you just basically spawn it in. You go to it, you test it. Now it will fire when you test it, unless you have it set to 0. You know, so just be in mind, you may blow up something or unnecessarily launch yourself when you test it. So yeah, and then once you tested it at where it tells you to, you get science. Easy peasy. Now obviously some of them have different trajectories in flight, which is not too bad, as long as you look at what it says. So it says in flight at an altitude of 2,000 meters to 6,000 meters at a speed between 230 meters a second to 290 meters a second. So it's quite hard to get that. It might take some time, but it's very enjoyable when you do it. So yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. I think that's all I'm going to do for today's video. Obviously, cause this is basically just to show you some rockets with physics, because Space Engineers does lack it, and I kind of enjoy like the harshness of physics. You know, I like to like go with it, and obviously Space Engineers, just you build a rocket, you fly up, and wow, you have gravity. That's about it. Yeah, don't get me wrong, I love Space Engineers, and I love building block by block the realistic rockets. Is one of the things I've loved doing the most on Space Engineers. But sometimes you just need to build a rocket that complies with the laws of physics, and this game is one of those games that just gives you that experience. So I'm just going to quickly buy some new stuff here. I want a heat shield. I need a heat shield. So heat shield is there. Heat shield there. So buy that one, and we buy that one for some side couplers, and it leaves us with 37. So we don't actually have any more points to buy anything else. But we have done our third tier of science to build bigger and better, and hopefully get into orbit next. Now we have a heat shield, because that was a bit hot for Jeb's liking. If you like the video, please like, comment and subscribe. I know it's a bit different than what I'm doing, but I just love space games, and I thought you guys would like this game. And if you want me to continue, leave me a comment saying you like it, and I'll continue to do more, make it even more crazy, fun. You know, teach them maybe about some space science. I'm not exactly a professional, but I do have some knowledge. I've been Dr. McKay. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.